Hello and welcome to another episode of Momento Malum today. In prior videos and in my book, link in the description, I've described the fact that the route apples took to reach the west from Kazakhstan was through Persia. While in that region, the primordial cultivars would crossbreed with the native wild species known as Malus orientalis, or the eastern crabapple. Even in modern times, the fruit of the wild eastern crabapple trees growing in the mountainous regions of Turkey, Iran, and Russia are a source of local foods, beverages, and medicines. Over time, many specimens have been collected by various interesting groups, such as USDA and Cornell University. Early studies found that these lines hold many genes for scab resistance, as well as resistance to fire blight and cedar apple rust. And these lines could be used as breeding stock for the creation of new cultivars. Apple scab and fire blight are the two worst diseases for an apple to get. While some resistant cultivars are used in breeding programs, there is still a desire for additional sources of resistance. 496 lines were collected from many locations in Russia and Turkey. These were analyzed for both the population's genetic diversity and to determine which lines are the most resistant to scab, fire blight, and cedar apple rust. This was done using an unknown genetic marker technology, and here are the results. If you want to donate to my channel, the links are below. If you want to buy my book, you can also find that link in the description box below. The lines were derived from 85 maternal lineages and had a high level of genetic diversity overall. This population clustered into 6 groups. The majority of the seedlings fell into Group 1 and 2, and contained specimens derived from the trees from many locations in Russia. The remaining groups clustered based on location, and the Russian lines were less genetically diverse than the Turkish lines. Group 3 consisted of lines from Tokat and Amnesia, both within Turkey, and Group 4 and 5 consisted of lines from Artvin, Turkey. Although many of these Group 4 lines were also of Kasmono lineage. Minor lines of various groups also have their links to in Bayburt and Gümüşhane, Turkey. Group 1 has a high level of fire blight resistance and a low level of rust resistance. The fire blight resistance for Group 1 is 65% resistant, 14% resistance to cedar apple rust, and in terms of scab, they are 34% resistant. Group 2 is 56% resistant to fire blight, 18% to cedar apple rust, and 74% to scab. Group 3 is 33% resistant to fire blight, 17% to cedar apple rust, and 33% to scab. Group 4 is 44% resistant to fire blight, 20% to cedar apple rust, and 32% resistant to scab. Group 5 is 50% resistant to fire blight, 36% resistant to cedar apple rust, and 71% resistant to scab. A subset of Group 1 is 13% resistant to fire blight, 67% resistant to cedar apple rust, and 60% resistant to scab. Overall, Groups 1 and 2 will be best suited for breeding stock. While cedar apple rust is a damaging disease, it can easily be managed by not planting cedar, juniper, and their relatives near apples. The other two do not have such an easy fix. That about covers everything. Thank you for watching.